Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, intuitive tarot reader, and professional witch. And today we're celebrating the new year and doing a 2026 tarot spread together. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. You can get my free 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year by joining my newsletter list. My newsletter always has the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life, and I will be updating that shortly to be the 2026 6-card tarot spread I created just for you. I'll create a PDF of the prompts and kind of what came out of it, and then you'll be able to grab that when you join my newsletter list. I have opened up the podcast to guests now, as you may have seen or heard this season earlier. If you're interested or know someone that might be a good fit, please fill out my form to be a guest on the podcast. It will be linked in the show notes. If you're local and you want to meet me in person, you can join us for a New Year full moon healing circle on January 3rd from 2 to 4 p.m. Step into the new year under the light of the first full moon, a sacred time for reflection, release, and renewal. As we enter 2026, the full moon invites us to pause and honor the turning of the cycle. Together, we'll reflect on the lessons of the past year, clear stagnant energy, and set powerful intentions for the year ahead. We meet at Thresholds Collective in Tacoma from 2 to 4 p.m. Tickets for the January 3rd event are up now, and we still have spots available. So if you want to continue celebrating the New Year full moon, or just the New Year, or just the full moon, you can join us on the 3rd, which is the actual day of the full moon, which is super fun. You can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. And most likely after the January 3rd in-person event, we will be pausing and regrouping and most likely moving to online. So if you are local and you want to make sure you check out the healing circles while they're still in person, please join us on the 3rd. For those that are not local, look forward to most likely some virtual events coming up in 2026. All right, so welcome to season 20, where, like I said, I'm talking with guests all about their experiences and interest in working with the tarot, and I'm sort of wrapping up this year 2025 and talking about what's next for the podcast. So if you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you can check those out. And today we are celebrating the new year, so happy new year, and doing a 2026 tarot spread together. To avoid any confusion, so last episode I pulled my own 6 cards to inform the tarot spread prompts for 2026. So that's what I did last episode. So if you didn't listen to that, check that out if you want to know kind of the behind the scenes of how I created the prompts. And then today, just like you, I'm going to go ahead and do my own tarot spread. You can follow along as I talk, or you can go ahead and pull your own cards related to the prompts that I created. All right. Okay. So like I said, last episode I created the prompts. So I'm going to remind you of those and then I'm going to grab my cards and get started. So we have 6 cards for this. When I did them, I did 3 across the top and 3 across the bottom. So I will most likely do that with this. It's also easiest to take a picture that way versus just vertically or horizontally 6 across. So we'll do 3 and 3. So the prompts were: number 1, where is your intuition leading you? Where should you throw caution to the wind? Number 2, what's your greatest strength and how can you incorporate that this year? Number 3, how are you going to be intentional with your relationships this year? Number 4, what gift can you give yourself? Number 5, where are you putting more effort into something than you're getting back? And number 6, how are you fostering your relationship with yourself? All right, so those are the prompts. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Today I'm going to be pulling from the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams. And yeah, I really like this deck. It's very colorful, as you will see. The back of the cards is this kind of like psychedelic 70s colors or 60s. They're turquoise on the side, and then we have lots of different bright colors on the inside. All right. So if you're doing this along with me, go ahead and grab your own deck. I'm going to do some quick shuffling here, shuffling ASMR. Yeah, and I'll be thinking about 2026. What do we need to know? Putting these prompts at the forefront, and I just had a card fly out. I think I'm gonna pull that one out. I'm gonna shuffle again, and then break it in half and we'll get started. So 1, 2, 3 across the top, and then 1, 2, 3 across the bottom. All right. We have a variety going on. I'm trying to see no major arcana cards. We have a lot of pentacles. We have a cup. We have daggers, which are swords. Okay, so yeah, interesting. So no wands. Okay, so let's get into it. So for our first prompt, where is your intuition leading you? Where should you throw caution to the wind? I pulled the 7 of Cactus here, which is, oh, there we go, like the 7 of Pentacles. In this deck, all the suits are changed to the Desert Illuminations version. So you can see here the cactus bits there. Okay, and we're sort of, it's looking road trippy. I'm trying to remember if I'm gonna have to look back now. I feel like I pulled Pentacles for the last one. Perhaps the same card. I'm gonna have to go look now. What did I pull? Queen, 7 of spirals. Yes, so I pulled the reverse version to inform the prompt for the 5th card. So that's interesting. So the same card came up again, but in the upright position. And of course, now it's part of the answer to our question. So 7 of Pentacles, or in this deck, 7 of Cactus. I'm going to go into here. And this will be interesting reading because this deck does not have reversal definitions. And so for the reverse cards, we're going to have to use our own understanding to interpret it. Okay, so the 7 of Cactus, it says, I'll hold it up here as I describe it, a classic car drives through a lush portion of Route 66, chasing after a UFO. The cacti on this route bloom after the springtime monsoon season, which is symbolic of successful cultivation. A vibrant sunset in the distance casts a vibe of looking through rose-colored glasses. The UFO in the distance represents the guiding forces leading you on the right path with your projects. This card is about being on the right track and thinking about what your long-term goals hold for you, which is hilarious because the prompt was, where is your intuition leading you? Okay, it says, like the open road, there's a sense of freedom after putting in all the hard work. When we are driving, we are forced to stay in the present moment to make sure we are safely observing everything around us. This card encourages you to focus on your journey and the road ahead. If you get stuck in traffic, be patient. You will get to your destination. Okay, so with the prompt of where is your intuition leading you, where should you throw caution to the wind, I would say it's sort of like, don't rush it, or I'm just writing down the card here. Yeah, that kind of, you're on the journey. The path has been laid before you and also behind you, right? For me, I'm thinking about how the podcast was or is right now. So, I did all this stuff in 2025, putting out episodes Monday through Friday, and I will, spoiler, not be doing that many episodes in 2026. It was a fun commitment and a fun project and also very intense. So I'm sort of in that place of like, okay, like, I laid a good foundation. I got a lot of episodes out. People really know what the podcast is about. And now for 2026, I get to kind of see like, okay, what's going to come of the podcast, right? I'm getting more guest requests to be on the podcast. I will be sort of thinking about what it might look like to do a weekly podcast at a more perhaps normal rate of putting out episodes. So that's kind of what's coming to mind for me is like, okay, like you're on Route 66, you're on the route, like things are happening, and you don't really need to worry about setting too many things in place right now. We just get to kind of thrive, right? We get to road trip across and see what there is to see. So I'm going to say here that sort of our message is you're doing great. Keep doing it. Follow the path laid out in front of you and don't worry about it. Things will come at the right time. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. I'm not so sure about the where should you throw caution to the wind part. I don't know if that's maybe like, oh, again, when I think about a podcast, that's what's coming to mind for me for this card is like, okay, so for this 2025, I had these 13 episode seasons. There was a lot of structure. I had a different theme for everyone. And I don't really know what that's going to look like in 2026 because if I'm doing it once a week, doing 13 episodes, it's going to be like a quarter almost of the year. That could work, but I don't know, like, do I want to do it different? Do I want to open it up to, like I said, I'm going to have guests sometimes and we're going to see what comes forth, what I might want to do, at the beginning of 2026, thinking about the year ahead. Do I want to do like a card a month pull? Like just kind of, I think for me, right, again, like I said, I had a lot of planning and a lot of intentionality in this past year of the podcast. And I think throwing caution to the wind in this sense is kind of being like, it's okay to not have a plan. And perhaps, thinking about like, oh, there are really cool guests I might want to have. Maybe that's where I should throw caution to the wind, right? It's just send those emails and see what happens, right? Be open to what might come in. And don't, again, worry about not knowing what's going to happen or planning what's coming forth, but be open to it. That's kind of what I'm getting from this card. All right, so prompt number 2, where is your greatest strength and what can you incorporate this year? And for this one, ooh, we have another 7 here. I pulled the 7 of Cups. I really like this card, but I did pull it in reverse. So the 7 of Cups is often about, if you kind of look at the image here, you see different things coming out of each of the jugs or the cups here, and that you don't really know what you're going to get, right? There's like a ghost, there's a snake, there's a cactus, there's the teepee, there's a rainbow, there's a water, like you don't, like there's jewels in one, or there's a snake, like you don't totally know which one is gonna like come up, kind of like the Wheel of Fortune type card. So again, this 7 of Cups or jugs as it's known in this deck. I did pull it in reverse. So we'll talk about the upright. We'll talk about trying to interpret the reversal with the prompt. So it says the 7 of Jugs, a silhouette of a pioneer. I'm gonna hold it up for you so you can see, is confronted by a vision of mystic whiskey bottles that contain different surprises emanating from their spouts. A ghost, a snake, there are so many options to choose from. What will they decide? When the 7 of Jugs appears in a reading, it tells you that you are faced with many different choices. Some offer opportunities, others offer scary and disturbing outcomes. Before you decide which jug to open, make sure that you are checking in with your highest self. Be careful not to get too distracted by the shiny objects that seem amazing on the outside, but could be detrimental once you get in too deep. If it seems too good to be true, it most likely is. Take your time. Be aware of illusions leading you down the wrong path. So, again, the prompt is what is your greatest strength? How can you incorporate that this year? I would say like the greatest strength is that, right, if we think about the reversal, is that like we have so many different choices, right? There's so many options, and maybe they're all opportunities actually, or maybe they're all kind of scary, challenging outcomes. But this says, right, upright, check in with your highest self. Don't get distracted by shiny objects. I would say, like, in reverse, like, the greatest strength here would be like, you don't know what's going to happen, and we're surrendering to the process, right? That you're very adaptable, right? Perhaps that's your greatest strength. And sometimes that can be challenging, right? Or makes us really resilient. That could be our greatest strength. And like maybe also we really like to be in control, right? And so surrendering to the process or kind of the road ahead, not knowing which choice is which, or perhaps that like I said, kind of how I'm thinking about the podcast, like this past year, I knew what was happening. I knew months ahead what seasons I was going to do and the themes and who I might want on there or what I was going to do and grab a book and get for research. And now I'm being like, well, we'll see. Like, I know now I have confidence in my ability to do the podcast, to get things out to you, to, post on the website and social media and get the episodes uploaded to the platform and get them on YouTube. And so I think here I would say like our greatest strength is adaptability. And we can incorporate that this year by actually letting things happen perhaps more last minute or doing a little bit less planning and a little bit more seeing what happens. To use a fun phrase, the fuck around and find out. But perhaps like the positive side of that, which is like, let's try some different things and we'll see what happens, and that's okay. So that's going to be how I interpret that one. So like I said, this was the 7, I'm just writing it down, of cups, or let's see, they call it jugs, traditionally known as cups. It was reversed. And then the message I'm kind of taking from this is adaptability, flexibility as our strength. And I'm gonna write down the fuck around and find out. Which is usually said in a way of like, if you mess around, you're gonna find out the consequences, right? But in this sense, I'm sort of thinking about it as like it's okay to not make a plan. Um, you trust yourself to be consistent and show up, and we surrender to the process. We're open to what opportunities and challenges will come this year. Okay. So, card number 3, I pulled the 6 of Daggers, traditionally known as swords, in reverse. So we have another reversal. Here it is here. I like this with a really big moon. So that's a reverse, which looks kind of funny with the moon in the sky like that. All right. Yeah, it was the reverse. Okay, so the 6 of Daggers. So we're thinking about how you can be intentional with your relationships this year. I'm going to read the upright, and then we're going to try to interpret the reversal about being intentional with our relationships. So it says, the 6 of Daggers, the desert sky is glowing. A giant full moon rises in the distance on Route 66, while a classic car detailed in daggers drives out into the unknown. The future is uncertain, but there are endless possibilities on the open road. The 6 of Daggers is a transitional card that ushers in something new while leaving behind the old. Although this can be upsetting, painful, and uncomfortable, it is important to look ahead into the future and embrace uncertainty with open arms. This card symbolizes movement, so you are headed in a forward direction no matter what. Leave behind what no longer serves you. It is time to evolve into the next phase. It is imperative that you don't pack your negative emotional baggage with you on this trip. So when I think about that being reversed and kind of this question of how are you going to be intentional with your relationships this year, I feel like it's saying like it's okay to let go of a relationship that's perhaps has been challenging, upsetting, painful, uncomfortable, right? And maybe, right, there's a relationship that feels worth it to go through that conflict, and we're going to look ahead to the future. But right, this card says no matter what, you're moving forward. And so leave behind what no longer serves you. And it's time to evolve into the next phase. So if there's something where you've been feeling stuck, or you feel like, oh, every time I hang out with this person, the same thing happens, and maybe I just need to change my behavior. Maybe I just need to show up in a different way. I feel like this card is saying like, maybe not. Like maybe it's okay that they're always going to show up that way and you've all done all you can do, and either you need to be okay with the fact that things aren't going to change, or you need to remove yourself from the situation. um so right, I think this goes back to what I was talking about and I created the prompts, which is that like there's something, yeah, with the relationships right now that is like shifting or changing. Perhaps it's already happened, right? Perhaps there's a relationship that, dropped recently or forced itself into a certain way of feeling like, ooh, now I know who you really are. Interesting. And this card is saying like, right, we're evolving into our next phase of growth, of maturity, of transformation, and that we can't bring right that negative emotional baggage with us on this metaphorical road trip. Like it's heavy, right? It's going to weigh our car down. It's going to make us go slower. We're going to get worse gas mileage, perhaps. And that like we have to decide when things aren't worth it anymore. And sometimes, right, like leaving those relationships means that we're a bit more cautious going into new relationships, or maybe we actually have more room to give ourselves in the relationships that we do enjoy and that are giving us a lot back, and that maybe that relationship is taking up a lot of time and space and energy. So I think it's saying, right, how are you going to be intentional with your relationships this year? It's going to be like, it's okay to let hard relationships go. I'm gonna say like think of a recent relationship that showed its true colors and take it at face value, instead of maybe always making excuses for that person or relationship. Um, and that we're evolving, transforming, and you can't carry all that baggage with us forever, right? I was gonna say, like, it's hard to let it go, but maybe, right, like one step at a time. Like sometimes it can feel easier to, I don't know, I'm thinking about like when you like get rid of clothing that like you wanted to like or you wanted to fit, but then like it doesn't, and maybe it's expensive or it passed the return date or whatever it is, that it feels like, oh, I have to hold on to it because like I had good intentions. I feel like this is saying like put it in a box in your garage. And if you don't think about it for 3 months, like it's time to get rid of it, right? If you don't go out there and grab it and wear it or whatever it is, like just let it go. Maybe it will bring someone else a lot of joy, and perhaps it will, right, allow for new opportunities or things to come up in your own relationships, or like maybe it will make room for something new. And this is the Six of Daggers or Cups reversed here. For card 4, it says, what gift can you give yourself? And I pulled the Knight of Daggers reversed here. So we're back to daggers, which are swords, which are always about thinking and sometimes overthinking. So it says, on the Knight of Daggers, a fierce woman mounted on a powerful horse charges forward in battle, wielding her dagger up into the sky. In triumph, she is determined on her mission, and nothing is stopping her on her path. The sky is swirling with clouds, symbolic of movement and action. When the Knight of Daggers appears, she motivates you to take action towards your successes. She's smart and quick-witted. When you set your mind on a goal, she is telling you to stop at nothing to pursue it. Go kick some major ass with this dagger's energy. Let the Knight of Daggers guide you towards crushing your goals and will undoubtedly see success. There's no need to worry about the challenges along the way because you are ready for battle and know all the strategies to win. So, when I think about this reverse and think about the prompt of what gift can you give yourself, I would say that it's kind of this like, right? It's saying in the upright, let this card guide you in crushing your goals. Perhaps there's been something that made you feel fearful about your passion or about maybe how you used to be. Maybe it used to be a lot easier when you were younger, or I don't know, like there were less, you perceived it as less risky to, like reach out to people or email mentors, or I'm just thinking about this very like, um, yeah, that like shoot your shot kind of idea. The gift you can give yourself is actually following through on your passions and like doing the really big, scary things. Like, again, I think of like, oh, like some guests I would love to have on the podcast that like, they aren't friends with me, they don't really know me, and it would be like a big ask, right, to have them come on the podcast, perhaps people I look up to, people that have created tarot decks or done different things, where I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like this card is saying like the gift you can give yourself is to actually follow through on the things you really want. And that, yes, there may be reasons why we felt scared in the past, or that it didn't work out. But this card is saying, like, it's okay to try again. Like, it's okay to ask and get no response, or ask and get rejected. Like, you can handle it. And the gift you can give yourself is to ask, right? Because there is this level of, like, what's the worst that can happen, right? Like, we see this card, she's like going into battle, right? That's a big ask. That's a big risk. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get injured. And when we think of knights, right, they are often the ones at the front lines. They are the ones that have potentially the most damage or like potential things to happen to them. And so like we have to let this card guide us towards crushing our goals and finding success. And if you've thought of something and you have this goal and you're excited about it, like it's time to do it. So again, I'm saying like it's time to follow through on your passions. Don't be afraid of failure. Really, there is no such thing as failure. There's trying and getting rejected, or trying and succeeding, but failure doesn't really exist. Like it's this idea we had that if we try and it doesn't work, that means there's something wrong with me, or that I shouldn't have done that, or oh, I should learn for the future to never like take that risk again. And it's like, well, now we know, right? And now you know for the future, like failure is about learning and boundaries and risk. And so also this card also says, take the risks, see what happens. And that's the gift you can give yourself. Okay, number 5, we have, where are you putting more effort into something than you are getting back? This is also interesting. I think we pulled the 3 of Cups, not the 3 of Pentacles last time, but we have similar energy here of the like 3 people hanging out, like trying to, I mean, they're aliens in this, but trying to see like how can we cooperate? What can we do together? So let's go ahead and look at that. It is upright and it is cactus, which would be pentacles. So this is the 3 of cactus or pentacles. So we also have some like earth energies, material goods, money, wealth, there. Perhaps, where are the cactus? Okay, we are at the 3. So I will hold up the card while I read. Again, the UFO hovers above 3 noble aliens in the thick of a night while casting a golden beam of light down upon them. The energy is charging 3 cactus buttons with cosmic knowledge to be distributed. These illuminated creatures have been working on advanced technology for all eternity. One is involved in building the craft, the other 2 are studying mysterious blueprints. This collaboration is what makes this divine architectural project possible. The 3 of Cactus is all about teamwork and collaboration. This card is a reminder that even if you thrive on being an independent soul, it is important to seek help occasionally. If we don't come together to align our dreams with others, it can be impossible to achieve a goal. You can't do it all. Ask for assistance from your trusted sources. So this is interesting because I have to sort of think hard to think about like how this applies to this question, because the question is, where are you putting more effort into something than you're getting back? And this is saying like collaborate, right? Be on a team, like and so perhaps there's something team wise that feels like imbalance, but I also think that, right, perhaps there's something individually that you've been doing or been trying and that it wasn't working individually, right? Like you couldn't actually do it all on your own. I definitely have experienced this where sometimes we choose to do things on our own or sort of do this from a place of trauma of like people let me down. I won't let me down. If I just take on everything myself, then I'm the only one that I can hold responsible. And I have the capability to do it all. But a lot of the time, right, like as a lot of us have learned, actually, no, you can't do it all. You can do certain aspects of it for a long time. You can try different things. You can do a lot on your own, but not everything. So I'm thinking about, again, where are you putting more effort into something than you're getting back? Think about something individually that you've been working on that maybe like you've been reticent to collaborate on or to pay someone to do it or something like that. And I feel like this card is saying like collaborate. Things might get easier if you split the work. And that, like, I also say this to say that, like, collaboration is not easy always. Like, it can have great outcomes, it can be rewarding, and, like, often, right, collaboration or teaching someone how to do something or working together actually requires way more work than doing it yourself. Maybe at the forefront. Often, like over time, I think it like pays off, right? Anyone that's ever like worked or hung out with kids knows this. They're like, yeah, like you might be able to do it faster, but right, like part of raising children or in any sort of capacity is that like you won't be around to do it for them forever. And so how are you going to teach them or how are you going to allow them to practice and collaborate and try it? Or have help from you so that one day perhaps they can take it on their own or find other people to collaborate with to do it. I'm going to also say that like you never know what could happen if you like work together. Like it's really hard to see the possibilities individually of like what something could become because you just don't know what other people are going to bring to the project or the idea. And again, sometimes that can feel negative and they bring the things that don't feel helpful, or it could bring all this energy. Again, I've definitely went through a process of like of what I was talking about of this like oh, I relied on people and they let me down. I'm going to do everything on my own. I'm going to run my business on my own. I'm going to do all this thing. It's going to be all better because I know how to do it right. And then realizing like, oh no, it's actually really hard. And that's why like they weren't always perfect. Or, oh yeah, I can do some things on my own. And like, how much do I want to just fight the system or fight like the norms? in that way, like how worth it is that to me, right? Maybe that's where you're putting more effort into something than you're getting back. It's that you wanted to do it all on your own, and that requires a lot of effort, and now it's starting to feel less worth it. And that outsourcing it or asking for help might be the thing that really like shifts stuff for you and your relationships, in your home, in your business, in your workplace, whatever it is. Um, I just wrote the possibilities are endless, right? About that working together. Like we literally don't know what could happen if we work together. Sometimes we can see it and it seems like phenomenal, astronomical, like unbelievable. And other times it's like, yeah, it's really hard. Like it's not right, like that there's this question about effort here of like, yes, I can put in a lot of effort, but when is it too much or when is it like taking away from me more than it's giving me? So finally, how are you fostering your relationship with yourself? And here I pulled the nine of cactus reversed. And this would be like nine of pentacles reversed in a traditional deck. So here we have like a meditating nine-armed, no, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-armed alien. um, and I did pull it in reverse. So this is more forward looking at it here. Where's my little book? Okay, so nine of cactus or pentacles reversed. So we're back to pentacles. We've had a lot of pentacles. Um, the nine. So I'm going to hold this up upright again as I talk about this. A nine-armed alien is perched on top of a giant blooming saguaro cactus. A large pink cactus flower emits the flame of eternal wisdom while the being sits in deep meditation. This card invites you to step into your power. You have achieved many of your goals, and you can now enjoy the luxuries of your success. Your independence, strength, and power are blossoming into beautiful cactus flowers. You should not feel guilty or shy about treating yourself or indulging in this positive moment. You've worked so hard and you deserve this. However, now is not the time to slack off because there is still more to achieve. Sit back, enjoy some self-care, and then crush some more goals. So when we think about how are you fostering this relationship with yourself and the fact that this is in reverse, I would say that right now, perhaps the way you foster your relationship with yourself is by celebrating the things that you have done, the things that you have gotten done. Like again, if we look at this creature, alien, like they're getting a lot done. They got a lot of arms. They seem chilled out, right? They got the peace symbol. They're like sitting on top of a cactus. They've got like flames. This is like good vibes. Right? And it's like this is what we could be doing, right? This is how we could feel if we just allow ourselves to actually celebrate the things that we've accomplished, right? And that is part of fostering our relationship with ourselves is like honoring the things that we did do, the goals that we achieved, the relationships we created, the different things that you didn't know that were going to happen, but that maybe were hard, but that you got done. That the way that we continue to like have positive self-talk and self-image and relationship with ourselves is being grateful for kind of like what we do have and what we have done in like body positivity or neutrality. It's thinking about thank you to my body for what it has done for me day to day. Like, I may not always feel like it is perfect or that it is always the pinnacle of health or wellness. And like, that is not realistic. That's not how creatures' bodies are. Like, the idea that there's a normal body is made up. There might be what's normal for you, and that might change over time, and what feels good might change over time. But that's part of how we foster our relationship with ourselves, is also saying, like, I am my own individual, unique being, and actually, I know what's best for me, right? And this card also says, right, if we think about this in reversed here, that I gotta find that. Reason of the 9. Okay. That it's not the time to slack off because there's more to achieve. Sit back, enjoy some self-care, and then crush some more goals, right? That this isn't to say that now you're done, right? That fostering a relationship with yourself is always a work in progress, and there's always something that we can most likely improve. And that doesn't mean that just because we can improve, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't celebrate what we have achieved. Like, again, think about everything that happened in 2025, where you were at the beginning of the year, where you were at June or July in the mid-year, where we are at the end of the year. I know we're looking towards 2026, but right, that is how we continue to like foster a relationship with self, is recognizing progress where progress was made, and then also thinking about, okay, yeah, I did all that, and therefore I can do even more this year. And again, that doesn't mean that the goalpost is always moving. Like, for some of us, that does feel true, but it means that every time it moves, even if you get bigger and bigger goals and excitement and things like that, that you still have to celebrate the thing you did achieve, even if you want more for the future. So I'm going to say celebrate your achievements, make time to take care of yourself and your relationship with yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. And you're the only one that can show up for yourself in that way. I'm not saying that this means that no one else can help us or that we have to do it all on our own, but just that your relationship with yourself is unique, right? No one else is going to have that same relationship with you, and that's okay. And so also this is like, it's a work in progress. It's a journey, right? And again, it's a journey, and we still have to celebrate where we go on the journey, that every bit of it, every part that feels like I went 2 steps forward, 1 step back, like that is still movement. That is still a practice of fostering your relationship with self. Right. And like this card, right? It's like, look, this is how we could be. We could be so chill and happy and resting. And like, that doesn't mean that we're just like good for the future, right? Like, okay, I achieved everything I need to. I'm good. Right. This is to say that it can be its own fun to like continue to challenge yourself in different ways. Um, to see what you can do. Um, all right, so that is the end of our spread today. It's been long, but we're getting through it. So this was the Desert Illuminations Tarot deck by Lindsay D. Williams. This is the front box cover. I love how colorful this deck is. It's wonderful. I'll have the picture of all the cards on my website and on social media for you to find, and I'll link the deck. So, and then, so I think our themes for today were an interesting, like, kind of balance here, right? Of like, you can do anything and you have to celebrate your wins along the way. I was gonna say it's okay to ask for help, but I'm gonna say actually it's more than okay to ask for help. It's necessary to work together. And we can achieve more together than we ever can apart. Yeah, take risks, see what happens, right? Like, there's no such thing as failure. There is trying, and seeing what happens and learning. it's okay to let hard relationships go or to make certain choices or be boundaried around your relationships. And again, that can just not even be with people, but things. I'm going to be doing a call for my online coven, the Dirty Hoe Coven, in January about setting boundaries with your technology and like using tools within technology to do so, like digital wellness that you have on your phone, or like timers or apps, or changing your phone into grayscale. These are all things that like we can set our own boundaries with things too, even though it can feel kind of contrived. Just yesterday, I set my own parental controls on my Nintendo Switch video game console so that I wouldn't stay up too late playing it. I set like a bedtime on it, and of course, like I can go in and change it. Right, that's the part that feels kind of silly sometimes, but even just having that, like, it's a way to continue to commit to yourself. And I feel like that is like another theme. Um, Continue to commit to yourself every day. Um, and then celebrate yourself and your achievements. And the path is laid out in front of you. Now we just have to follow it and see where it goes. All right. Okay, I think those are everything for today. I hope you enjoyed getting to see kind of how I interpret cards and messages. I'd be super curious, did you have any of these same cards that came up? What do you think when you hear these cards and what they are with the prompts? What did your spread look like when you did it on your own? Yeah, feel free to email me, me@CamilleSellers.com, with your thoughts, questions, observations, anything about this. I would love to hear. You can also comment on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Most podcasting platforms you can rate and even leave comments on certain episodes if you would like. So yeah, if there's something you learned from this episode today, or just like an insight or a different way that you read a card and what you think it means, I would love to hear that. I definitely do have a goal for 2026 with the podcast of being more connected to my audience, and trying to figure out ways to do that. So I would love to hear from you. So I am going to pull one final card to see if there's any other message from today. I'm going to pull from the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle that I've been loving. So let's see what I have any message from today's reading or anything else for 2026 that we should be aware of. All right, I pulled Divination in reverse, which is interesting, and ironic, since that's what we talk about on this podcast. Okay, so reverse, it says divination in reverse is asking you to put down the divination tools for a moment. Maybe we've been doing too much tarot. Asking the same question over and over again can lead to confusion and a misinterpretation of the messages. If you pull a card and do not like the message, try to find a way to sit with it and accept it without judgment. Drawing a card again and again until you get the answer you seek isn't divination. Learn to understand what is presented to you and how it fits into your life. So right, this card's saying like, we love tarot, we love our tools, we love Oracle, and right, if we ask the same question and always are trying to get a different answer, or we're not listening to the cards, then we're not really using the tool in the way that is most like aligned or is like what the tool really wants, right? This is saying that sometimes there can be a limit to continuing to ask the cards the same thing, or for like the answers, right? Sometimes we have to figure out, okay, when is the answer actually within myself? Maybe I don't need something externally to tell me, or maybe I'm using divination as a means of like verification or reassurance, and that perhaps, right, we also need to try to, right, even within this context of this reading and this deck and the prompts is like, right, we started with where's your intuition leading you, right? Sometimes maybe your intuition is saying, put down the cards for a bit, put down your divination tools and just be and look around and see what you take in without the divinatory methods, because sometimes we also use divination as a way to try to figure out and perhaps control the future or that kind of thing, right? And one of our messages today from this spread was take risks, see what happens, right? The path's laid out in front of you. Now we just have to follow it and see where it goes. And sometimes we aren't going to have the answers, and that's okay. We're just going to have to learn how to live with that and to live with ourselves without always having to consult or get reassurance from someone or something else. All right. Well, links for the tarot decks will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. And next episode, I will be talking about, well, not next, but next episode, we'll have a guest, which I'm so excited about. But in the final episode of this season and of the seasons of 2025. I'll be thanking you for listening and talking about what's next for the podcast. So I know I keep teasing it, but stay tuned for me to give you kind of what our structure, what to look forward to in 2026 here. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, you can always email me, e@CamilleSaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.